you guys want a really difficult job? Alrighty then, here's one for you. Try to review Shadow of the Colossus, the HD remake, and compare it to today and the game that it was back in 2004. Sound easy? Not exactly, but that's pretty much what I'm going to do now with this Shadow Colossus Rage review. So yeah, just be prepared that this is a really difficult game to review. My review of it probably should be taken with a grain of salt. It's not a game that many might find appealing today, unlike those who had played the game when it first came out. So do try to, take my review with a grain of salt and don't criticize me too harshly. Okay, now, in the recent years, games have dramatically changed in terms of gameplay. The reactions are sharper and less clunky, there are less glitches, and a lot more flexibility in the games. As these elements continue to improve, we always strive forward in the world of electronic games and achieving near-flawless results as we enter the realm of a masterpiece. But then, what if we look back and see how far we've come? When Shadow of the Colossus came out, it was pretty much like nothing that had come before it in terms of gameplay. With bow and dagger, you toppled beasts as big as mountains. We were all blown back then, and it's something that will always be remembered, for better or worse. Then, here comes the catch. With the gameplay seen today, how well does Shadow of the Colossus hold up? Is it because it's been a long time since you've played it, and after we've been treated with all the games that have come out this year, if you really want to give it, criticize it, or praise it, either way, you're going to have a very difficult time. And it is pretty much impossible to compare the two generations, but with the HD remake coming out, the gap has slightly decreased. Then again, it's not really something that can be simply done. Shadow of the Colossus appears really simple at first. You ride your horse around a deserted land, and you hunt down all these Colossus with your weapons. Now, first of all, you're going to want to adjust the buttons mapping, because I can tell you now, back on the PlayStation 2, the button mappings are completely different as they are on the PS3. I can tell you now. Now, the Colossus really seems simple enough to kill, but then if you keep going on, you'll find that you need to use the environment in order to kill them. In some cases, you'll need to hide yourself and climb up its beard when he searches in the cave for you. In other instances, the only way to get the better of them is by waiting until they climb up at the wall of a building, then knocking them down. This added element of complexity increases with nearly every single encounter. Part of the thrill of slaying these monsters is by discovering their weak points and making them suffer for it, and it gets more sophisticated every single time. I can tell you now, doing this is by no means easy. You are very rarely given clues or hints to see how you can get better of these bloody bastards. And even when you do, the clunky controls will frustrate you a lot more times than you think. If you guys are possibly playing, if you guys go and start up your game, if you go to this third Colossus, you'll see exactly what I mean. Especially, because you will not have any idea how many times you'll get frustrated as you fall off due to these clunky controls. These show you just how far we've come in comparison to what we get treated with today. However, you won't be too likely to fall off a Colossus once again because you let go. Climbing them shouldn't be this much as a chore, and you constantly fall off or press the wrong button, your patience will give in way too soon. Of course, everyone who's played the game when it came out, is expecting this. Newcomers will be disappointed and probably unpleasantly surprised at how harsh the game is and its controls. It's also great to know that using your weapons, though, is spot on in terms of smoothness. As you plunge your dagger into the Colossus' weak points and aim your bow, there's a feeling of strength and accuracy, as if it packs a really strong punch. Riding your horse and aiming at the same time with your bow bonds the hunter and its horse in a realistic and pleasant way, and it's really great to see that it worked out this smoothly. You will find yourself getting irritated at the clunky controls, the data controls, but you just have to remember what it was like back in 2004. This HD remake will pretty much shock first-timers until they slowly adjust to the game, whilst those who had played the first game on the PlayStation 2 will be right at home. Let's go into the single player now. At the start of the game, you see the Wonder come into the shrine of worship and lay down a person wrapped in white sheets. I'm not going to spoil too much for you, but you basically have to bring a loved one back to life, and in order to do this, you need to kill 16 giant Colossus that roam free in the area, and destroy 16 statues in the shrine. You set off on your quest with nothing but a dagger and a bow to slay these beasts the size of mountains. Okay, I'm gonna be really frank. The story isn't memorable to start, and you'll often be wondering, in and around the area, and wondering if this is all there is to it. The area of which the Colossus roam free is completely empty of other life sources apart from a few scattered lizards, birds, fish, fruit, and your single trusty horse. It feels lonely and empty, somewhere that you'd rather not be as you seek to bring your loved one back. It gives you the feeling of urgency. The story isn't the main factor in this game, and you'll wonder why it's even there to start with. By the time you reach the end, the story takes you by surprise. You await the shocking ending that you probably knew what was going to inevitably happen. Although you were powerless to stop it, you kept just pressing on. Anyway, either way. Of course, other than hunting and toppling the Colossus, there's nothing to do in this world. You can eat fruit off the trees and lizards to increase your stamina and health, but there's literally nothing else in the world of any interest to you. It increases the sense of isolation and exploring the unknown that some may find appealing. If you had to explore a magical kingdom populated with towns, castles, and bustling people, then this game, to say the least, wouldn't be the same. There's no inventory, no sense of progress or interaction. It's just a wanderer, his horse, and massive Colossus. Looking at the glass half full, there are no distractions or branching options that draw you away from your main quest, giving you the sense of little time left as you seek the next boss after the other. It's not something everyone is accustomed to, and will unquestionably leave a lot of people underwhelmed. Then again, it's extremely effective in terms of creating a brilliant atmosphere and environment for you to explore. It's a very different aspect to consider, and a lot of people will be asking that age-old question, what were they thinking? But it also provides with a mysterious story, an isolated shadowy land, and a unique environment. It's an acquired taste, to be honest, and those who don't have the stomach for it will probably be turned off until the spirit of emptiness summons them to return once again. You're going to have to find it hard to return to this game, but once you do, it will be worth it. Okay, now the technical side. This is going to be even more difficult. How do we compare a game with the technical and graphical presentation of a game that was made in 2004 and compare it to today? This is a decision that we all found really hard to make, and we argued about it for a long time. But to say the least, even with this expensive makeover, the technical side really hasn't fared well. Characters look just very similar to cardboard cutouts, and the trees seem to be in the second dimension at times. This is strangely the polar opposite of the artistic side of the game, despite the land sometimes being one grey corridor after another, or shapes of rocks. Lump shapes of rocks again and again and again as you continuously travel, getting nowhere. You'll get a massive scope of the land and its emptiness by gazing at its clever art design. Its excuse for running short on the technical side, of course, is this game that was originally in the PS2, and even when it came out at the time, it blew everyone away. This is what we'll remember for years to come, when we gasp at the unbelievable visuals back in 2004. Strangely and oddly enough, the visuals in the HD remake look half-baked at times, though this is often the case in open world games, of course. What disappoints in its visuals, it makes up in audio. The sound design is brilliant, as is the soundtrack, sending chills of nostalgia down your spines as we yet again get treated to one of the most outstanding soundtracks in gaming history. It may be impossible to ever top Shadow of the Colossus' mighty soundtrack, and if there's one thing we'll remember about the game, it's audio and its soundtrack. It's a shame the visuals don't match up to our expectations, but the soundtrack will never let us down and will be the benchmark for all future gaming soundtracks that developers have all strived and failed to match. Now the trophies. The trophies in Shadow of the Colossus aren't difficult, just a little time consuming. Multiple playthroughs keep you entertained, as will hunting for all the fruit and all the lizards. Granted, it's not a weekend platinum and will keep often frustrate you at times, but Shadow of the Colossus contains a trophy set that is mildly challenging, but takes a fair amount of time. Okay, closing thoughts. Shadow of the Colossus is extremely difficult game to review. Just in case I haven't said that already, I'm just letting you know now. Especially in comparison to how we viewed it on launch and how we view it today. Those who have played the game back in the good old 2004 will be right at home here and love the game just as much as they previously did. Those who haven't will be unquestionably shocked by its clunky controls and tattered visuals until they get a grip and see the brilliant works behind this ancient masterpiece. It doesn't matter if you're eagerly waiting for a shot of fresh nostalgia, waiting to get your teeth into the game once again, or a newcomer who just wants to see what the hype about, Shadow of the Colossus is a game that everyone should try for themselves to see what's behind the curtain. Some will be turned off by its stated in gameplay and its tale. That's a judgment you have to come to make for yourself. It's going to get an 8.5 out of 10, and I hope you enjoyed this review, and happy gaming.